Have you ever heard of the Great Dying? It sounds like something out of a blockbuster movie, but this was a real event, and it was the closest life on Earth has ever come to being completely wiped out. This wasn't just another extinction. This was the asterisk mass extinction, the most devastating our planet has ever witnessed. We're talking about the Permian-Triassic extinction event, which happened about 252 million years ago. Forget the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. That was a bad day. The Great Dying was a bad few millennia. Before this catastrophe, the world was a very different place. The land was dominated by a single supercontinent, Pangaea. Life was thriving. Imagine dense forests of bizarre-looking plants, giant amphibians lounging by the water, and early mammal-like reptiles, our distant cousins, roaming the land. The oceans were teeming with life, too intricate coral reefs, trilobites scuttling on the seafloor, and a huge variety of fish. Life was good, but then everything changed. The prime suspect behind this global disaster is a series of massive volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia. These weren't your typical cone-shaped volcanoes. We're talking about colossal fissures in the Earth's crust that spewed lava for hundreds of thousands of years, covering an area the size of Western Europe in molten rock. This geological event is known as the Siberian Traps. The sheer scale is almost impossible to comprehend. Imagine a continuous, planet-altering eruption that just wouldn't stop. The immediate effect was, of course, the lava itself, which incinerated everything in its path. But the real killer was what these volcanoes pumped into the atmosphere. They released truly biblical amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. This led to runaway global warming. Global temperatures soared, perhaps by as much as 10 degrees Celsius on average. The poles, which had been cool, became warm and tropical. The equator became lethally hot, possibly too hot for most complex life to even survive. This atmospheric mess had another devastating consequence: acid rain. The volcanic gases, like sulfur dioxide, mixed with atmospheric moisture to create acid rain so potent it would have stripped leaves from plants and acidified the soil, making it difficult for new life to grow. On land, entire forests likely withered and died. The base of the food chain collapsed. Herbivores that relied on these plants starved, and the carnivores that hunted them soon followed. It was a domino effect of destruction. But the real horror show was happening in the oceans. As all that carbon dioxide from the Siberian traps dissolved into the seawater, it caused rapid ocean acidification. This is the same process we worry about today, but on a much more extreme scale. Marine animals with shells or skeletons made of calcium carbonate, like corals and many shellfish, simply couldn't build them anymore. The very water they lived in became corrosive. The beautiful, complex reef systems that had existed for millions of years collapsed and vanished. The warming of the planet also had a terrifying effect on ocean circulation. As the planet warmed, this system may have slowed down or stopped completely. The oceans became stagnant. This led to widespread anoxia, which means a severe lack of oxygen in the water. Deep ocean waters became toxic, suffocating graveyards. As if that wasn't enough, this low-oxygen environment was the perfect breeding ground for certain types of anaerobic bacteria. These microbes thrive without oxygen, and they produce a deadly byproduct, hydrogen sulfide. This is the gas that smells like rotten eggs, and it's highly poisonous. Scientists theorize that vast plumes of this toxic gas may have bubbled up from the deep ocean and into the atmosphere. It would have poisoned life on both land and sea, and potentially even damaged the ozone layer, exposing the surviving organisms to harmful UV radiation. It was a multi-pronged attack on life itself, so how bad was the damage? The numbers are staggering. It's estimated that up to 96% of all marine species went extinct. Think about that for a second. Imagine going to the ocean and 19 out of every 20 types of creatures you might see are just gone forever. The vibrant trilobites that had dominated the seas for 270 million years vanished completely. On land, the devastation was just as severe, with about 70% of terrestrial vertebrate species disappearing. It was the only known mass extinction of insects in Earth's history. Life was reset. The world after the Great Dying was a desolate, empty place. A disaster world ruled by just a few hardy, opportunistic survivors. For millions of years, the planet's ecosystems were incredibly simple. The rich biodiversity of the Permian period was replaced by a handful of disaster taxa species, like the pig-like herbivore Lystrosaurus, which somehow thrived and ended up accounting for as much as 90% of all land vertebrates in some areas. It's as if every animal on land was suddenly replaced by variations of a single resilient creature. The recovery from this event was incredibly slow. It took life on Earth about 10 million years to truly get back on its feet, and for biodiversity to return to pre-extinction levels, 10 million years. That's an almost unimaginable length of time for the planet to heal. But from the ashes of this catastrophe, new life eventually emerged. The ecological vacancies left by the Permian creatures opened the door for new groups to rise. The most notable of these were the archosaurs, which would eventually give rise to the crocodiles, pterosaurs, and, of course, the dinosaurs. The Great Dying, in a very real way, cleared the stage for the age of dinosaurs. Without this near-total wipeout, the world we know and the creatures that dominated it for the next 150 million years might never have existed. Studying the Permian-Triassic extinction is more than just a history lesson about ancient life. It's a chilling warning. The cascade of events, massive greenhouse gas release, rapid global warming, ocean acidification, and anoxia are disturbingly similar to the environmental challenges we face today, albeit on a slower timescale. The Great Dying shows us just how fragile the Earth's systems can be, and how quickly a thriving planet can be pushed to the breaking point. It reminds us that our planet's ability to support life is not a given. It's a precious balance that, once broken, can lead to consequences of an almost unimaginable scale. So the next time you think about Earth's history, remember the Great Dying. It's a profound story of destruction, survival, and rebirth, and a powerful lesson from our planet's deep past that still resonates today. Thanks for watching, and if you found this journey into our planet's most dramatic chapter fascinating, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dives into the story of our world. See you next time.